for the 200th episode of ADSM. That is 200. That's quite insane. And in true Audionautic tradition, we are 10 minutes past our scheduled starting time, and that's fine. And that's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that because it's the internet and time doesn't exist. But welcome. Good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be. Thank you for joining us. We hope you're well. My name is Curtis, and before we actually get into what we're talking about, this is Eon Lake. How you doing, man?
Hello. I'm all right. Yeah. I'm a strange mixture of completely fine, but also a little grumpy.
Okay.
Act
Okay.
surprised. If you could, I'd appreciate it.
Oh my God. I mean, you're usually so spriteful and together.
Yeah. No, it's just that I have of late. I've realised in the last week or so that one of the reasons I feel less enamored with the whole making and releasing music thing is what's happened to social media
Okay.
and the fact that it's not the viable tool that it once was for just sharing work in progress, behind the scenes stuff, musical things.
Hmm.
I used to enjoy doing stuff like that, but now I don't feel inclined to because it'll either get scraped for AI or somebody will nick your bit of music and release it for you, as we've seen happen with people on Instagram.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's got to the point where it's not safe to sort of share what you're doing anymore. And there was a time, and I don't want to go too old man shaking fists at the cloud, but there was a time when we had a bunch of social media platforms, and they helped us form a community where we can keep an eye on what everyone's doing and be inspired with what everyone's doing and
Hmm.
share what we're doing and so on. And it was fun and everything was nice. And then and then it changed. And now it's probably not wise to be sharing stuff that isn't formally copyrighted on a public medium because it could get copied, it could get stolen, and all sorts of things that are the case now. Now, I might be overreacting, but I realised that I've completely clammed up over the last year or so. I don't share anything anymore
I get
at
that.
all
Hmm.
because I don't trust the platform, and I don't want to train AI models with my output.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. Nobody's stopping me making music, and I've still got friends, and the world spins. But I just wanted to mention it just to see what other people's takes might be on that and how they feel about sharing either complete or incomplete work at the moment. But I'm extremely suspicious of it myself and don't feel I'm able to. And I think it's really taken some of the joy out of um, being social on the internet and using it for good to build community and so on. Like, that's important to us. It's something we enjoy, right? But
Hmm. I mean, absolutely. I think
is it
the,
just me? I mean, I don't mind. Tell me in the chat.
well,
If it is just me, then I'll actually feel better. So don't feel bad about pointing it out.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think there's a lot of validity in social media or the bigger social medias um, becoming a bit of a cesspit when it comes to promoting and sharing your music, right? It's always been a tool. Like I always say, my Instagram is a tool. Um, it's a business account, and it's one that is there to promote my music first and foremost, and promote a brand. Um,
Is
I
it
th-
still safe to do that though?
I I mean,
I'm probably,
I wanna
a
say,
lot of people could say to me, like, who gives a stuff about your music? Why would anyone be interested? But just the idea of it just being gobbled up by AI scraping just to, you know, train your replacement, it bothers me.
well, I do think that's there. I think you've touched on something important. Is that if as musicians, as independent musicians, it's ever more important to get registered on PRS or ULSA or whatever your
Hmm.
native national licensing copyright company is. Everything. That's the back office side of being a musician, which in the opening of the independent game ironically through distribution networks, but that kind of all fell to the wayside, right? But there are ways in which you can kind of get around it. But I also want to. Bendu says it quite well. Social media, as we know it, has kind of run its course, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think it's a period of change we're seeing now. I don't think we ever. It's a period of change at the moment. I think part of this is probably picking up on that. And thank you, Survey Channel and Bendu, my brothers, for your comments.
Oh yeah, not just you. You're not alone, Eon. I think all of us are a bit exacerbated by it to a certain degree.
It's a bit annoying not to be able to share so freely anymore. It's really annoying. That's one of the things that all this stuff gave us. And the reasons for it to remain are just getting fewer and fewer. It is something to lose, I think.
It is for sure, and I do think there's that old classic saying, right? When the universe closes a door, it opens a window, and I think I don't want to get.
That might be one of your old sayings. I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
I want. It's like, so I had my listening party for In the Wake of Light on Monday night, and there were some people I knew in that, and we had some great talking and some great times, and there were some people who I didn't know, and I had never met before, and some
even
people
better.
Even better, and it's great to find out who they are. We played through twice, right? Because the last track is a continuous mix. So in the end, I ended up just playing it through twice, and people kind of just popped in and out, and that was quite nice, But I suppose what I'm saying is it was dedicated, and it was super local, super dedicated, super intentional, and it comes back
on Bandcamp, wasn't it?
It was on Bandcamp, yeah. And it comes down to intentionality. Hey, Abby, by the way, what a great way to start. I hope so. Just bang straight in there. Beautiful, lovely. It's lovely to see you. But again, it comes with intentionality, right? And I think it's about how you frame your own intentionality with what you're doing. And I think social media has become very unintentional. It's just I'll put something out, and it's just a game. It's just a gamble. It's like a slot machine. But it's a slot machine. That's what it is. It's a slot machine because there's no definable method anymore. There's just you put it out. And so in that sense, traditional social media is kind of running its course for musicians in our kind of part of the world. But it's not to say that there aren't social avenues which are unexplored or still burgeoning or that have potential.
Yeah, I suppose it's about making a decision about how these things weigh out the pros versus the cons. And I'm kind of questioning that, I certainly don't feel free to be able to, do the things I would advise other people to do. Like, so we've always talked about being genuine and not generating content with quotes around it, but actually just, showing your process, something real, raw, documenting something as it's happening, as opposed to sort of doing something for the camera. And I'd kind of like to do that, but I don't feel like it's a good idea to.
Just like putting too much of your personality out into the world to then be farmed.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
To be munched up.
By the hungry
digested.
Yeah. No, I hear where you're coming from. I mean, in that regard, if you want to let the music speak for itself, then it is just a game of It is just a game of Bandcamp listening parties, conversations in closed corners, instant messages, etc., one-on-ones, small groups, small Discord servers, things like that, where it's more decentralized and it's more, again, I come back to the word intentional in that regard.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. At least we still have our Discord at the moment.
At least we still have Discord, and seeing as there's only two of us, I can put the big banner up today.
There it is. If you'd like to have a chat with us and all our chums.
It's a good place in which to be. There are some thoughts from last week's show. Someone put some thoughts in for the NPC sample, which we talked about last week. I've been throwing a few samples here and there from the new Poly D that I've got at work. Stuff. Come say hi. It's good fun, I'm waiting for Coraline to pick up because I want to know how the studio's getting on. We have to see. We'll have to see. Anyway, have a mull on that, Eon Lake. I feel like there's more to this conversation. We do have a lot to get through with today. Have a mull on that. Maybe we can come back to it. I'd like to frame it in a solution-based conversation.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons to mention it was just to think, other people may have thought the same thing, might have been looking for solutions, might have ideas about, a good way to tackle that, something positive. Because essentially it's about not feeling free to act, anything that ends up with you being like, oh, I could do that. That would be quite empowering and a good thing.
I mean, you could go full. You could go full the other way and just completely create a character that's got nothing to do with who you are. And then, if the AI does farm it, then it's got nothing to do with you.
Well, I was also looking at AI poisoning solutions and so on.
Ah, okay.
Which still exist, but can be processor intensive and time consuming to do. And you're entering into an arms race because obviously they could get coded around, and then you've got to code around, do something different. And I don't think that that's really where I want to take my life.
I get that.
So I'll just make some music.
In the name of bringing questions to the community so the community can answer as a whole, Smiling Area says, does anyone know a visual tool to make videos more enjoyable so we can drop our audio onto YouTube? I'm assuming that is...
Yeah, you could use AI to remove my face from this. That would make it more enjoyable. There are a number of plugins. I don't know. I'm thinking about this from an Ableton point of view. I know there are some Max for Live devices that generate audio responsive visualization, but I mean, there've got to be ones for other DAWs. I know Smiling Arrows isn't an Ableton user, but I'm sure there are others. Yeah, there are quite a few. I forget them because it was a while ago. I was looking into it and I didn't end up mastering them and producing lots of videos, strangely.
I think in a similar vein, I think I've got one lying around, which I think is actually Max for Live, but which is no good to SE because he uses FL.
Touch Designer, that's the one I was trying to think of. Survey Channel, yeah, but that's a rabbit hole, as he succinctly puts it. It's huge, the potential of that.
Well, there we go. Touch Designer, or Milk Drop from Winamp, which I don't know what that is. Yeah. If anyone's got any ideas, pop it in the Discord. I'll have a root around. I think I've got this third-party plugin which is native to Max for Live, but can be used elsewhere. I'll have to have a look. I'll have a gander later in the week, and I'll put it in the Discord if it's there. But yeah, no, I mean, because that's something I was thinking about this week. Is like this notion of short of going out and shooting some form of music video, it is difficult to kind of make our world a bit. I'd say difficult, right? But it's more of a challenge to kind of get it done,
Yeah, I thought about it, and I thought whatever solution you end up using needs to be something fun because you're going to end up doing it a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
In an ideal world, creating the visuals to go with your music would would be something that you could get into and enjoy, and would be a similar thing in
I
that
mean,
respect.
I think it is. Like I like to find kind of like an aesthetic or a theme or a vibe that is consistent for a single project, and it might change project to project because that's what keeps it novel, right? But you know, the as the months go down, there'll be more videos for In the Wake of Light, and they're all kind of an aesthetic and of a time and of a place, and it's I'll never touch it again once it's done, and I mean, you're editing video at that point, and I don't know if that's where SC is coming from in that regard, but you can throw these things together quite easily and quite effortlessly in that regard.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd kind of be interested in having a number of different ways of doing it, because if you wanted to create imagery for an entire album's worth of material, you wouldn't necessarily want to film, say 12 videos and edit them and so on. You might want some of them to be something different so that there's at least a bit of variety in what you're doing.
I get that. And just to add to that as well, a survey channel, I always love doing full album visualizers. I absolutely agree with that one.
I love it when he does full album visualizers.
I agree. There's nothing better than a good. There's nothing better than a good loop. I always remember I did Periapsis with Sunwarper years ago. It was part of our first ever collaboration, and there was this bridge in Hanoi where I was driving, and the person on the back was just filming, and it was just us coming onto the ramp and then driving through the bridge, and I managed to loop it perfectly, so it looked like it was just this seamless kind of mirage. Never ever been able to make a loop that good again. Yeah, but I mean, when you get a perfect loop, you can do it for hours, can't you? Periapsis is like a 8 minute track, and just personally, maybe because it's my track, but I never got bored of it. Anyway, so yeah, I love the fact. I just want to put this out there. I love the fact that for our 200th episode, we have come with a docket, come with an idea, and instantly gone completely off piste.
Yes, sorry about that.
No. That's what I'm saying. We go completely off piste with a community discussion, initiated by just the idea of what we've been up to, and where we've been at through the week. But then just boom, the community just in the chat, just helping each other out. I love that. So I think that's where this is at, right? And that's what I mean when coming back, just to kind of tie up everything that we've been talking about in this first segment. It's this idea that these small, close-knit communities, that, the very beginnings, or coming back to the idea of early like MSN, where it's like, you don't have a long friends list, and it's just small, close-knit communities who check in with each other on a regular basis and help each other out. That's the way to move forward, I think, in this world of vacuous AI and Instagram and all that stuff, because it doesn't work, and I'm ever more convinced that it's just the same as those slot machines that you get in Vegas, right? Where it's like, I was in the run up to the release of the album, I was looking at how to promote with ads and things like that, right? And just like, I haven't done it for a while. I've got some money lying around. I'll just see what happens. I didn't do it, but this was before I went on to Submit Hub, because I did do some stuff for some playlisting, and you can now on Submit Hub, for example, pay a lot of credits for an ad program. And they'll promote a video of your work, and they'll promote playlists that you're on, etc. And then I've seen those in my feed, and I don't know if that's a viable ROI in that regard. I don't know if it's a viable ROI. So it's ever more amalgamous, and it's ever more difficult. And I think you just gotta stick to your friends, and you got to stick to the buddies who have your back.
Yeah, I mean, there've been a few times when I've heard something that I like and I dig into it and think, oh, who's this? What are they about? Where are they from? Blah, blah, blah. And while I'm doing it, I've been thinking to myself, I must be one of the only people in the world who does this. Regular people don't do this.
I think we're all
They just like
curious.
something passively, but they don't. The only reason that I'm sort of going down a rabbit hole at all is because it's what I do as well.
I hear you, and I think that's fair. I think there are a lot of like-minded people in this world, and exploration is always fun, and finding something new is always good. And I do think it's only a recent phenomenon that we will passively just hit like on a song that is fed to us by some sort of algorithm. I think that's a very new phenomenon. So I think there's hope, Eon, is what I'm saying.
I think so too.
I get that. So yeah, let's have a look. So yeah, the ads are a thing I hate. More forms of middlemen gatekeeping. Absolutely, you've got to have hierarchy in a post-capitalist system because that's what keeps the money flowing upwards, and that's all that matters. And that's what we're in. And that's that's sad, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll work with it when the time's right. Anyway, small PSA before we get into it proper today, just because, this literally about 45 minutes before we went live, Eon Lake just popped up with this. The SP404 Mark II has got a 5.50 update coming on the 2nd of April, which is, as time of filming, tomorrow, Thursday. It is 404 day incoming soon enough.
On the 4th, obviously.
Absolutely. And there doesn't seem to be much of a press release, really. But apart from this little statement on their official website, which I suppose is, but it wasn't immediately obvious. But I'll just bring this here, as you can see. So I'll just come down here. And they make a big deal about their live events. So I'm not going to go into it because they obviously want me to talk about it. But this very important idea here, the 5.50 update is a free user update, adding, finally, sidechain compression. I'm sure some will be dancing with glee upon hearing this.
I did think of him.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Apparently, it's a much requested feature and has been since the thing first came out. So I think there will be a lot of people who are super happy about it now,
Yes, I absolutely agree with that one.
and that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're listening to the consumers. It's good that they are doing what they think they can do to continuously upgrade the device. It's been out.
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
really thought we would not be seeing any more updates on that device. So I'm grateful, even though I'm not that desperate for sidechain compression. I'll take it and anything else you got all day long.
Well, it does
And
look
be
like
happy about it too.
It does look like that it's the only thing we're getting potentially.
Yeah.
But hey, it's something that is requested. It's something that many people have requested for many years. It's good that Roland is doing that. We'll have to download the update from tomorrow. Have a look. I'll dig mine out, and I'm curious. Actually, I've got band practice on Sunday, and I'm curious what happens if I sidechain my guitar to my Move, just to see what happens, to see if I can kind of help the mix in that regard. So I will report back, and we'll get to it. But yeah, absolutely. Let's remove that. Do I stop? Yes, let's stop that for now. So that's happening. We'll let you know. We'll get in guard. But yeah, it is 25 to, well.
Oh, on that note, I was just going to say it was very funny. Like I said before the show,
Yeah.
I was only watching an NPC sample video the other day just to see what people were thinking of it. And one of the drawbacks of the 404 was that it didn't have real sidechain compression, and the NPC sample was the only one that did. And then literally the next day, I saw the announcement for that, which made me laugh.
Well, you have to believe, I want to believe the narrative that the guys at Akai were, aware of the limit, or aware of the fact that it didn't, that SP404 doesn't have side chain compression, despite
I
it being
think so. I think it had been a feature request from various people.
It's been highly sought after, and the idea that they've been sitting on it, and then Akai come in with their new devices, looking all proud of themselves, being good, look, we're going to run with the SP404, and then the next day Roland go, well, the one thing that we don't have, we now do. So I like that. I like that bitterness, and I like that rivalry. It seems fun to me. It's very Game of Thrones, I like it. Question from Sleeping State. One for you, Eon. How is sidechain compression different from rig mod side
Ring
chaining?
mod side chaining? I don't know. I imagine ring mod side chaining is just something that's rhythmical and repeats like an LFO, whereas side chaining normally lets you select what you're side chaining from. What we're used to hearing is, a 4 on the floor kick side chaining something and making everything duck as it hits. If you do it gently, it just creates a bit more room in your mix so you can get everything louder. If you do it really heavy, you've got lo-fi or some form of house, depending on what sound you're using. But the idea is you could feed any trigger into that and just make it duck. The classic example being radio DJs and ducking music when they're talking.
Yeah, that's the most thing. That's what you want when there's
Which
a song
ironically
playing.
is usually done with a gate, but never mind. You can use gates for side chaining too. I was doing it the other day.
You can. I really appreciate it when DJs talk over the track. I think it adds a je ne sais quoi to the majesty of the artistic intent when they're speaking their thoughts and rambling over the top. I love it.
I understand not wanting dead air, but when you've actually got the air being used for for what you're apparently there for, to then go talk all over it when you're literally trying to find things to say seems a bit redundant. But
It just can't
Yeah.
stomach not being the center of attention for 1 second.
sorry, my ego won't stay asleep.
That's the way I see it, anyway. Yeah. Okay. So, main event for the week.
But we'll look into the sidechain compression and say what it's like and how
Good
it may
idea.
differ from anything else once we've had a go on it.
Maybe we should ask Roland for ring mod side chaining as well, just to kind of compare, see what's up. It might take them 7 years to get there, but
Another year or a 4-day next year.
we'll get there. If it is going to be the last update, maybe that means we'll get a Mark III.
I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to think about it. No.
No more gear, right? No more gear. Okay.
No more gear.
Just the music, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get you.
That's what I have to tell myself is that you don't really want more gear. What you want to be doing is making more music.
You do. That's exactly what you want to be doing. And many of us convince ourselves that we buy a piece of gear that it will unlock new avenues of musical exploration, which is not a falsehood. And I think, because we live in this world of, half truths and almosts, there's always that back of your brain where it's like, if you just got this, it would change the way you look at it.
As if.
Exactly. Survey Channel wants to sell some gear, and that's cool. That's a bold place in which to be. Maybe I'm at the stage now where I could, in theory, start selling off some MIDI controllers. That's where I'm at.
In theory.
I'm entertaining the idea. Sleeping State, just to come back to it, I use ring mod side chaining. It ducks fantastically well, but I don't know a thing about how.
I'll admit, neither do I, actually. It sounds fascinating.
It does. If anyone is watching this either live or listening back, and you'd like to know, or you'd like to help out, you do know and you'd like to help out, sorry, let us know. We're all a bit lost here. And, we would like to know. Maybe just come and, once again, check out the Discord. That's the QR code. It is up to date. And yeah, we'd like to see, because we're no idea. If it ducks, it ducks, but I don't know why. Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, anything more on else, Eon, or should we start talking about the journey of AI?
Let's move on.
Okay, I can do that. I wanna just frame this. I want to frame this in a positive manner.
Go ahead, mate.
I want to frame it in a positive manner. However, my own thoughts, maybe not.
However, I have a brain.
But okay. Apparently, because the key to hearts compact. So I tell you, okay. Again, distraction, but valid. Met Smiling there last week. Hung out Friday, Saturday.
Of course.
Yeah. Saw a show, had some food, drank beer, and obviously now I'm subscribed to Keeler Hearts. So we're kind of messing around with that. That is a lot of fun. I think there's a lot to play for there. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I didn't realize the Keeler Hearts Compactor is a Ring mod sidechain, so I'm gonna have to have a look into that. But yes, I hope you're doing well, Smiling Arrows. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna share this, and we're gonna get into it without much further ado. Nice, cool. So, this is what we've got here. The headline: Sony Music claims to have culled 135,000 AI deepfakes from streaming services, which, you sent me this over the weekend. But basically, what's going on here is that they approached I'll start that again. They approached platforms such as Apple Music and Spotify and requested that artists who are signed to Sony or any of its derivatives have any of these AI-generated deepfake tracks that are impersonating these artists specifically, to have them removed. Deepfakes are created using generative AI. They mimic real artists and are uploaded by impersonators. And Sony believe that this number represents only a small portion of what actually exists online. Maybe, So around 60,000 tracks were identified as directly pretending to be artists from Sony's own roster, which means there's a lot more going on there. Major artists, and therefore the most important ones, let's not forget, Beyonce, Queen, and Harry Styles have already been affected. God, they must be...
The big three.
Yeah. they must be absolutely catatonic by this. I'm sure that they are feeling it. Their DistroKid payout system must be really bad right now.
There must have been absolute scenes in their kitchen where they all live. Those
three together. Just one flat in Peckham.
But yeah, they were saying that it's often tied to promotional campaigns. So when somebody's got something new out, you see a rise in this sort of thing. But yeah, it seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But there is more. So I'll finish this off. That's what they're saying here. So deepfakes are particularly damaging during release cycles, particularly when they're promoting music, because what they do is they essentially, for want of a better phrase, quote unquote, confuse and demand attention from the consumer, which diverts attention and essentially ad revenue from the real artist. Again, this is an absolute tragedy. Absolute tragedy. Like,
can we sue them for the confusion being caused?
I don't know why this is not more of a thing. Oh man, I can feel my anger. I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about this.
Just wait till my therapist hears about this.
The industry estimate suggests that 10% of music on streaming platforms could be fraudulent or artificially generated. And this points to a rapidly growing systemic issue. Now, that is a valid point, which...
It does, yeah. It does seem to be rapidly growing, yeah.
Yeah, it does seem to be rapidly growing. It does seem there is an explosion of AI music, whether it be generated by people who use Suno or they are trying to deepfake, quote unquote, these people who really need a paycheck. So it is a lot going on, and so that's what streaming platforms have done. They have gone to Sony and they've gone back to Sony and they've started by removing 135,000 AI deepfakes of specifically Sony signed artists. So yeah.
Did they give any percentages in regards to content on platforms, or am I thinking of a different story?
I think that's a different story. I didn't see anything here.
I think it's related to the tool that Sony have developed that helps you identify what the model was trained on to produce particular AI generated pieces of work. So they claim to have a tool that can identify what copyrighted material has contributed to your AI produced song.
That's fair.
Which sounds like a wonderful step forward in the battle against, or at least a fight back against, these learning models having been trained on copyrighted material without anyone's consent and just going, sorry, afterwards. But I think it's probably a lot more likely that they're just going to be using that as a bargaining chip when they come to speak to entities like Suno. It just strengthens their position really in their argument and presumably their financial standing afterwards.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you. Yeah. What gets me is the idea of the fact that they're prioritizing Sony artists, right? And if this was a crusade against AI for the sake of justice and fairness, then it would just be, let's just do it, right? Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm not signed to Sony. And
no, I'm just to clear up any confusion, we've identified ourselves on this as not being signed to Sony.
We're not signed to Sony, so we are not protected in that regard. And you know me, I love making a good deep fake of Justin Bieber. So I'm safe for now, but we'll have to see. But they're obviously protecting their own backs. It's good to see. It's good to see someone taking a stand. I suppose at this stage, a stand when it comes to AI music.
Yeah, I don't know if you can even consider it a stand, but I like the fact a counter argument exists and that there is something that wants to push in the other direction.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that. I think it's a bit of a change, and with their, if they, as they say, have developed a tool that identifies what models used to generate this music, then that's even better too. Whether or not it would fall into the hands of you or I is quite another thing, but just the fact that the desire to develop technology like that exists.
I think it's yes, it is a nice start. I don't want to sound too optimistic and I don't want to sound too anything else, but like it's cool to see that someone is going, oi, all this AI stuff, maybe we don't put it up out into the world, maybe it's not fair, maybe it's not right, maybe it's something that we should do. Now, they are intrinsically looking out for their own wallets and their own clientele, right? I will take it for now, I think, I think I don't know. I was having this conversation with some of my friends uh, the other week, and uh, you know, they're not in the world that I'm in the sense that they don't make and release music, right? And so, my hyper-normalized bubble is all up in this, AI, Suno, Udio kind of, it's taking my likelihood, etc., etc., etc.
Took a chance.
you know, and but the conversation about AI music, firstly being a thing, but then also being this thing that can now just be on your feed, right? So they're all Spotify users, and you notice how I said that with gritty teeth, but the playlists and the recommended lists and the algorithm is prioritizing AI music, and consumers are starting to wake up a little bit, which is I don't want to say wake up like they've been asleep, but they are just it's coming into their awareness, and I think that's a good thing. I think
I do too.
absolutely, and I think the idea that something like Sony and now BBC News, for example, this is a clone article from BBC News, by the way. The idea that that's coming more into the collective consciousness can only be a good thing. Can only be a good thing. I don't want music made by artificial intelligence in my ears. I just don't have any need
No,
for it.
no. I mean, if it was something, I just like it to exist like something you can take or leave, because there it is.
There it is.
Like apples.
Yeah,
Do you like apples? No.
but then don't have it. It's fine. I just don't want it to be
But
shoved
there's
up.
somebody coming along going, eat this. It's cherry pie,
Well,
and it
exactly.
isn't.
Well, like,
I'm not for that.
yeah, I don't like being lied to, and I don't like being told what to do at the best of times, right? And I don't like having decisions made for me. If I wanted to have AI, okay, if I wanted to have, it's about freedom, right? If I wanted to have AI music, I'd love to have a little button in my settings, right, where I could go, yes, I'm comfortable, or yes, I want to hear some AI tracks, right? But I haven't had that option. I don't like it. Don't want it. Not up for it. Leave me alone. Don't want AI. And
Yeah, or have AI like an artist in its own right, just one artist AI, and you could either listen to them or not.
yeah, why not? Um, apparently, ChatGPT is this kind of one entity thing. Anyway, without going too much on a rant, I think
But that's a funny statistic that you've highlighted there. The 10% of music on across all streaming services is fraudulent.
now I wonder what their
I mean,
line is for
wow.
fraudulency. I mean,
Fraudulent, I take in this instance to mean it's not created by the people it says it was created by.
which is that deepfake stuff that they're talking about.
That's how I read that statement. And, I don't think it's any surprise to any of us that this exists, but it is a surprise to me that it's that prevalent.
Well,
But then again, I guess, anytime you have a system that can be gamed, there will be people, trying to game the system, especially where there's, money involved.
well,
If there's
exactly.
money in it.
Exactly, like survey says here, fair is not part of the lexicon when money is involved, which is again that's beautiful use of words there. I think there has been an absolute explosion in the same way that generative AI exploded a couple of years ago, and is now kind of it's like it's burnt quick and fast, and is I want to believe what I read when it's kind of stumbling a little bit. Doesn't stop them from draining the rivers, and but maybe one day. My point is that we have the explosion of AI generated music came a bit later, and it has continued to explode, and now it's kind of entering the mainstream, and it's becoming more of a thing. And I want to believe that it will. I want to believe the human race, and I want to believe in my fellow man when it's like, you know, we don't want it, and there's no need for it, and we can just the market will just kind of turn away from it. You can make all the money you
Yes,
want.
yeah, me too. And I think there's a certain amount of social evolution at play here, where there's some of these things that are less desirable exist because greed, but ultimately it's the greed that pollutes it and causes its own downfall. And what you're left with is are the things that really matter to people in the broadest sense, and that's art for art's sake, beauty, aesthetics, expression. These are things that people have craved since the dawn of time, painted on cave walls. It's part of who we are. It's undeniable. Whereas some of these other things are just things that come and go.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's really interesting you say that, because I think that kind of ties back to your opening remarks concerning social media. I want to believe that everyone's sick of this kind of hyper corporatized, flashy, money driven, consumerist content, be that AI music or social media or whatever. We just haven't got an answer for it. I mean, in this case, when it comes to music, we have plenty of answers. There's plenty of human music. There's plenty of beautifully crafted art in this world made by some wonderful human beings, and some human beings that you would consider a bit iffy sometimes, but nonetheless, their art is always good. My point is that there's plenty of choice, but we haven't found an economical way of moving towards that yet. I don't think. The alternative. Take the alternative Bandcamp, right? The alternative is Bandcamp. It's awesome. It's great if you're one of these people who is loving music and loves this show and listens to the show and is not on Bandcamp. I implore you to go and listen to Bandcamp. Listen on Bandcamp just because it's so amazing. It is great, right? What stops a lot of people is the fact that you are supporting with your own money, as in you're buying album by album, by single, by stuff like that, right? So you've got to put your money where your mouth is, and that isn't a viable option for everyone. And the consequence of that is that people are still willing to pay $10 a month and get everything they could ever ask for and not have to think about it as well, which is a shame, but we're still trying to find our way back, I feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like a pendulum swinging constantly, and there's a big change, and then there's a readjustment and so on. And yeah, it feels like we're in between at the moment.
Yeah, we're definitely in that transition period, for sure. Chris said, CD comeback is bigger than reported, as most of the sales are secondhand in record shops, which the music industry never get a slice of. That's great, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool, right? It's nice to see. I suppose that's why thrifting is such a big deal. I mean, apart from that, is also a money making scheme, but the idea of buying vintage clothes and things like that. So that makes a lot of sense in that regard. But yeah, Sleeping State has a very good point. Neither does the artist. That in itself is a really interesting grey area that swings both ways. And Survey Channel, CD is just on the verge of surging. I think it rhymes, therefore it's true. And half god, half beast. I hate the fact that music became an industry, which is again also valid.
Yeah.
Vinyl apparently hit $1 billion in sales last year, most ever since 1983.
1983.
That's bold.
Wow.
He's bold. Hang on. What is Steve doing? Okay, that's fine. All right. Just noticed him looking very, very suspicious.
Oh yeah, he's at the back there, isn't he?
He's just doing his thing. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's doing something he shouldn't be. Yeah, 1 billion in sales in the last year. In the last year, which is the most ever since 1983. Which again,
that being a format that is, expensive, slow to produce, heavy, harder on shipping and so on. Obviously, CD is a lot more convenient in a lot of ways. I wouldn't be surprised to see a huge surge in CD sales over the next couple of years.
I'd agree with that one. I think I've had a number of the kids that I work with at school have asked me if I have a CD player that they can borrow. And I mean, it's just one example, but it's just like it is kind of becoming more into the consciousness. This idea that you physically put something in and listen to a whole thing. It's novel.
It's funny. I don't think it is just people who lived through the technology. I think there is something a little romantic about there being a product that is a physical thing that you take out of some sort of cover and you put into some sort of thing and you have to play in some way, be it needle, laser, whatever, or magnetic tape. It's just, there's something a bit romantic about it having a physical form of some kind.
I'd agree.
And I say, look at this thing that actually exists rather than, have you seen that data file? Wow.
Yeah. And it's in memory as well, right? Like I've got, last CD I bought is of this Austrian prog metal group that I saw back in, I can't remember when, it doesn't matter, but and I've got that CD. I went down, I saw the gig, chatted with the band, had a beer with them after, chatted Dream Theater for a good hour, bought the CD, and it's in memory. There's so much more kind of like life tangibility, and yeah, there's just something there. And I think that is something that I feel that the pendulum is swinging back on. I just think it's swung so far that it's going to be a while before we bring it back, maybe.
Yeah, and we can be as negative Nellies from a music point of view about all of this, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that so much in life is moving towards a subscription culture, and I think people are just like, I want to be able to pay for something and have a thing and look at it and go, right, that's the thing I paid for. There it is. It exists. Transaction complete, rather than this ongoing relationship and renting everything in your life. I think people value actually having things rather than renting them, potentially losing them when they don't want to continue paying.
Yeah. Or losing a subscription if you have a short month or something like that. CDs are great. You can record them too, just like a cassette. Yeah, burnt CDs. Mixed CD. Like, I think there's a lot to be said there, and I think I maintain. I think just as we're seeing a pendulum swing, and we are in that kind of transitional period, right? Like we just come out. It's just spring in the year of the horse. And last year was the year of the snake, and that was shedding, and that's new, and that's all that stuff. And I'm not going to prattle on about that too much, because then this turns into a completely different podcast. But you know what I mean? Like it's we're gonna something will change. Something has to give. I think what's his name? The botanist, the ethnobotanist.
That guy, Terence McKenna.
Terence McKenna, thank you, Terence McKenna. He said things are just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder until we're just going to have to talk about it, right? And that's
it's true in so many ways.
True in so many ways, right? And we're eventually art is going to get to a space where. Because that's what that is, right? That's just while Terence McKenna is talking about reality and stuff like that, you can extrapolate that onto a kind of an economic firm as well, where it's just going to get to such a space where it doesn't give people's access to art doesn't give them that connection that they intrinsically, subconsciously, unconsciously are looking for, because it's wrapped up in QR codes and it's wrapped up in, digital downloads and things like that. Eventually we're going to have to start talking about it. And eventually there has to be something else that we're going to get through, And if you want to find an artist that you are implored by or enamored by, there's no good trying to find them on Instagram because, it's all adverts and stuff like that. That's my weak link to Terence McKenna for the episode. But I'll see what I can do again next week.
At least I remembered his name this time.
Appreciate that. I always forget his bloody name. But you know what I mean, though? It's like we love to hold something. We're monkeys in shoes. We love to have something tangible. We love to have something in our hands. We love to be able to feel and touch and move. And, it has to be a point where everything behind the screen and everything on your phone or on your iPad is just not going to cut it. Eventually your soul gets diminished so much that you can't do anything else anymore.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. We are, as you say, monkeys in shoes.
Oh. Anyway, that's where we're at. Anything else on that article, Eon? It is gone the second hour. Is there anything?
No, we of course, thoughts and prayers for Mr. Styles and Bouncy and. Interesting things afoot, though.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's a GoFundMe somewhere. Yeah, their kitchen must be very depressing right now. I do wish them the best. Hopefully the lights are on. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's cool. So, okay, I've heard about where you've been at over the last couple of days, and how you're feeling about everything else. Do you have anything in store for you this week? I mean, it is the long weekend. It is Easter.
Yeah, you see, it's. I've got, some time ahead of me, so I've obviously got ideas about how I'm going to use that time creatively, making music in some wonderful heyday will occur. But in reality, it may be slightly different, but I'm definitely going to be doing something. And I've been messing around with all sorts of gating programs recently. After saying the other week I was looking for a noise gate you could MIDI trigger. I've got one of those now. It's called Duck. I'm enjoying that. It's making some very choppy sounds.
Nice.
I'm rather enjoying. I've been meaning for a long time to sit over there in front of my modular mixer and make some weird noises. I've got the Digitact that's running the MIDI clock for it all. BeatStep Pro is clocked off that, so I can run samples off sequences off that. I can clock the rest of the Eurorack gear off those two, get everything in sync, and try and make some weird and wonderful noises.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
I want to make complex sounds where you take audio output and go back into inputs and sounds that are breaking themselves. That's Steve
awesome.
Obviously agrees.
Oh yeah, I mean, Steve heard you talking, and he's come.
So I'm here for that.
He's come straight over to see what's up.
Did someone say Eurorack?
You see that Digitac making a MIDI clock? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, okay, it's gating a gate. Is that on your radar?
LFOing a gate. I was to change the speeds and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got my Soundforce LFO in the Eurorack where I can get one channel to clock the other one and set one to random and time the other one, so you can vary your timings, but it's always a division of your clock so that it's in time, but it's varying all over the place. I like doing stuff like that.
It sounds very sci, if you ask me.
It does, doesn't it?
It does sound very sci. I wonder why. That does sound like a pretty good Easter weekend, and I
and amplitude modulation too. Yes, great idea. I'll put that on the list.
There we go.
Thanks, Sleeping State.
That's what we need. More work. That's good. I do believe it was in Psalms 96 where it did say, "And doth he arise and came out with a mini Eurorack." So I think you're in good company for the long weekend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some biblical tie-in. There is in my world, anyway.
Absolutely,
How
absolutely.
about you?
Before me, survey, just because he got in there first. I need to start planning for a show in May, looking for suggestions for an
Oh
affordable
wow!
MIDI controller that is just knobs and maybe some pads. Didn't you just get the key step too?
I didn't know. The last one I got was actually a Korg Nano control. It's tiny, but that's faders and knobs.
Okay, so that's not pads in there as well. Beat step.
No, no,
Well,
no. I can think of some really expensive ones. Probably not going to help.
it's not going to help. I'm just going to put Steve in frame. Well, again, this is a great opportunity for while we do this segment. It's just to pop the QR code for the Discord community right there. If anyone's got any suggestions, Bendu is already on the game. Oh no, I lost everything. Bendu is already on the game, looking to help. Survey channel curious about these in-text studio options I see, but they probably wouldn't arrive in time. Bendu straight in for help. What are you using the pads for launching? Parameters mainly. I do have a launchpad solution, but so I'll have to see. So if anyone wants to help Survey Channel be on this, please, again, just put it in the Discord. It's so lovely. I think a lot of people here are patrons, and I didn't do a shout out for the patrons last week, but this show is brought to us by our patrons, and thank you ever so much. We love you. Your unwavering support is amazing, and sometimes you even write the show when I'm having a bad day, and I really appreciate that. It's cool. Normal service will be resumed after Easter. We didn't do a star stream this month, and I apologise for that. We'll do one next month, and some other stuff coming after Easter. So yeah, we love you. Thank you ever so much for just being here. It's lovely to see where you're at each week. Really appreciate it. Any word to the patrons, Eon?
Just love.
Love.
The love that has no words other than thank you.
I love that. That's good. That's what you need. Myself this week, it's going to be the first hot weekend in Prague since probably November, October, I want to say.
I'm probably still a few months away from that here.
I want to say.
Wow.
Novation launch control. That's a good idea. Sorry, I just seen.
Yeah.
Half god, half beast. You can get the
Isn't that kind of one that's similar as well?
the APC 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, APC 64, and they've got small ones.
There's a MIDI mix thing, or something.
They're Kai MIDI mix.
I forget what it's called. Oh yeah, no, somebody's put it in the chat. There you go.
There you
I
go.
don't need to say anything.
No, just need to be there. But yeah, that's where we're at. Keep them coming. But yeah, so it's the first sunny weekend, and it's a long weekend here. So obviously, I'm going to spend my entire time in here.
Avoiding the sun.
Avoiding the sun. Yeah, no. I'll try and get out for some of it. But I am. I've built a workshop in the other room, right? So I've, basically built myself a wood workshop, and I'm building a case for my synthesizers. Maybe you can see if I zoom in on me a little bit, because obviously it's all about me.
A case.
Yeah, so hang on. How do I put this in? If I zoom in a little bit, right, and I turn this over here, you see here, you've got the Move, and you've got the SP, and you've got the mono. You see that there?
Yeah.
That 3. Behind that, there's the S1 tweak, and there's also an iPad stuck to that as well, and it's all stuck on onto a pedal board, guitar pedal board, and it's become quite a central kind of hub of what I do, and I basically want to build this big case around it, and with a handle and tape everything down and then I've got this tiny little mixer coming. It's about this big and it's an 8-channel input. And I want to stick that on there as well, obviously, and then have everything wired into there, so that I can basically take it to a gig or an open mic or something like that, and then just send the engineer a stereo 2-track. Really, that's kind of what I want to do. But I don't want to buy one. I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to make one. I've got a lot of wood lying around. So that's my game. That's my game for this week. So it's kind of like music adjacent.
Music adjacent craftsmanship. I like it. Yeah, building a case to put synthesizers in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I'm doing more with.
You know, I'm a fan of the setup in a flight case option.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or pedal board or whatever case you've got. A guitar case might be better, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's all stuck to this pedal board, like I said, and I could just put it in I've got a bag for the pedal board that exists, right? But I'm clumsy, man. And like getting it around Prague on public transport, up and down the metro, banging against the escalators, running into meth heads. Like, no, there needs to be a solid piece of wood between that, I think.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Sounds like a plan. We'll get there. This is very much talking before I do the walking. So I probably won't mention it again until I've done it. I've built the prototype and it works, but I need to.
I like the idea. Just take the lid off and plug in and play.
That's the game, right? You just and then you're in, right? And so you can do open mic, like
no setup, no tear down. Is unplug and put the lid on.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we're at. Yeah. So that'll be me. So we'll be back next week. I say this with tension, but I've got a new album out. If you haven't listened to it and you
should,
if you like ambient, go and have a listen. It's good to get it out there. Had a great time with people on the listening party on Monday. People seem to like it. Maybe you will too. Maybe you won't, and that's also okay. But we'll see. I love it, so it's fine. Yes. We'll be back next week. I'll try and get the SP updated and have a look at it and see how effective it is and where it's good and where it's not.
Yeah, of course. That's what you're going to be doing this week. Side chaining mostly.
I'll be doing side chaining. I will do. I'll update it. I want to do it. I want to do it because I want to do band practice because the move and the guitar both go into the SP. And I'm playing drones on the move. And sometimes I'm just, strumming the guitar, and sometimes they get messed up. So I want to see if I can sidechain those two together. That'd be really cool. So we'll see. But yeah, anyway, we'll be back.
I want to plug a stereo mic in so that I can put it in loop and just sidechain the world.
That would be cool.
Everything. You're all getting sidechained.
We're all getting sidechained. We're all getting sidechained. And on that note, we'll love you and leave you. Thank you ever so much for being here and listening to us prattle on for an hour and a half. You could be anywhere in the world right now and you chose to spend your time with us. That's amazing. Really appreciate your time. You've been amazing, as you always are.